Hello, I'm Kurma. Welcome to the Gourmet Vegetarian Cooking Video Encyclopedia. This edition, we're featuring chutneys and raitas. Chutneys have a variety of unique flavours. They're prepared from a wide range of ingredients and they complement the dishes they accompany. They go especially well with breads and savouries. Cooked chutneys are usually made from fruits. You can use any variety of fruit you like, and they're generally sweet, whereas uncooked chutneys are generally savoury. Now, raitas are cool, refreshing, raw or semi-cooked vegetable salads that are generally folded with fresh yogurt and lightly seasoned to accompany a main meal. They provide a cooling balance to hot, spicy food. This edition, we're going to show you how to make all sorts of chutneys and raitas, such as carrot, cashew and date raita, tomato chutney, apple chutney, apricot chutney, plum chutney, and fresh tomato cucumber raita. So let's begin. Carrots, cashews and dates in yogurt is a beautiful and very simple to prepare raita. Here we've got 3 carrots that have been grated, and along with that we're going to add 5 sliced dates. You can slice your dates like this, and along with our sliced dates we're going to add our cashews. These are dry roasted and chopped. There's a 1/4 cup of those, along with 1/8 teaspoon of fresh ground nutmeg, 2 tablespoons of honey and 1 1/4 cups of fresh yogurt. Now all you have to do is simply, and that's the key word here, simply combine it in a bowl. There's no cooking at all. Put our yogurt on top of our carrots. And add our cashews, nutmeg, dates. Fold in our honey. Now let's very, very carefully combine this. I'm going to once again use my hands for this because I feel this is the best way to mix up this particular dish, because sometimes the dates, they stick together a little bit along with the honey, so you have to get in there and move them around and squeeze all those juices together. This is a very, very tasty dish. It's very unusual and very colourful. And as you can see, it can be made in a matter of moments. And there it is, carrots, cashews and dates in yogurt. So quick and simple. I'm going to show you now how to prepare a dish that's simultaneously too hot to bear but too sweet to resist. What is it? Apple chutney. We're going to use about 1 pound of very sour green apples here that have been cut into cubes. That was about 3 apples, along with 2 cups of brown sugar and a whole range of spices here. A tablespoon of fresh minced ginger, 1 green chilli that has been minced, 1 1/2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, 3/4 teaspoon of fennel seeds, 1 2/3 teaspoon of cinnamon powder, 1 2/3 teaspoon of nutmeg powder, a teaspoon of cardamom powder, a teaspoon of coriander powder, and we're going to garnish it with 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of ghee, with 1/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of raisins, and about 1/4 cup of coconut for garnish. Now let's first heat up some ghee in our heavy pan here, and let's add our spices. So first of all, our cumin seeds and our fennel seeds. Let's brown those a little. Let's add our chili and our ginger. Let's toast all our spices together until the ginger goes slightly brown. Now let's add our apples. Now we have to saute the apples with those spices for about 5 minutes. Now when things are getting really hot here, let's add our raisins. Our powdered spices. Give that a stir. Those powdered spices, by the way, the cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, and the coriander are all very sweet, and they add a beautiful fragrance to this chutney. Now let's add our water. Our lemon juice. Our brown sugar. Mix it in very well, allowing the sugar to melt. Turn your flame down to a simmer and allow this to cook for about 45 minutes to an hour until it's thick, cooked down and jam-like. You should stir it every now and again. So here's our chutney after 25 minutes. It's almost there. We'll give it another 15, 20 minutes. And this is our apple chutney after 45 minutes. Thick and jam-like. So turn off the flame and allow it to cool before serving. Sliced cucumbers and tomato cubes in yogurt. Here's another exciting, simple to prepare raita. Here's what you need. 1 1/4 cups of fresh yogurt. 2 medium-sized tomatoes that are chopped into 1/2-inch pieces. 2 tablespoons of finely chopped fresh coriander. A teaspoon of cumin seeds. 1/4 teaspoon of garam masala. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. 1 teaspoon of salt, and for garnish we've got 1 teaspoon of slivered almonds and 1 teaspoon of chopped raisins. And we've got 1 cucumber. Now the cucumber you need is a firm, green-skinned, fresh cucumber, and you should peel it like this. Like so. Now, cut your cucumber in half and take out your seeds with the help of a spoon, like this. Like so. Now, turn your cucumbers over. Cut them in half again, like so, and cut them into nice, small pieces, like so. The reason why we've taken out our seeds is because they add a bitter flavour to the raita, and they also make it too wet and runny. Now, Let's combine all these ingredients, our cucumber, in our bowl, our tomatoes, our fresh yogurt, along with our coriander, garam masala, black pepper and salt. Now let's dry roast our cumin seeds. Place your cumin seeds in a heavy pan and saute them like this over the flame. If you like, you can turn the flame up to full, but make sure you keep those cumin seeds moving around. And as you do so, stirring or shaking, you'll notice that there's a very strong cumin seed aroma which starts to waft up from the pan, and you'll find that the cumin seeds actually start to go a golden brown colour. Now, after about a minute, this small amount of cumin seeds will be roasted. So they're done. Let's place them in our mortar and pestle. And grind them up to a powder. Notice all the smoke coming out of there. That's the beautiful, freshly ground cumin flavour. It's a must that your cumin seeds for this dish are dry roasted like this. It's a whole another dimension. Now add your cumin powder to your raita. Now fold everything in. Like so. Garnish with your slivered almonds and your minced raisins or currants. And there it is, a beautiful sliced cucumber and tomato raita. Tomato chutney. Take about 3 cups of chopped tomatoes with 2 dried red chilies, a teaspoon of black mustard seeds, 2 teaspoons of freshly minced ginger root, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, along with 1.5 tablespoons of ghee and 1/3 cup of water. Take your ghee, place it in a pan like so, and fry up your mustard seeds. And when the mustard seeds start to crackle, add the dried red chilies and the fresh ginger. Saute for a few seconds, like so. Add your tomatoes. And stir fry for a few minutes. Now when your tomatoes start to break down like this, after about 2 or 3 minutes, add your brown sugar and salt. Stir your sugar and salt in. Now you should cook your chutney down for about 30 or 40 minutes until it becomes almost thick and jam-like. And there it is after 35 minutes. Beautiful tomato chutney cooked down to perfection. Now we can turn off our flame and serve with your favourite savouries. Of all the chutneys, I like this one the best, plum chutney. It's also known as Rada Red. This recipe was taught to me by a cook called Deepak, and it's very unusual, especially because of the combination of spices that we're going to use. Along with our plums here, which as you can see we've cut up into little cubes, and there's about 1.5 pounds here, or about 4 cups. We've also got some other interesting ingredients. 3 tablespoons of desiccated coconut, 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, a teaspoon of cardamom powder, 2 tablespoons of ghee, 1.5 cups of sugar, and we're going to add some camphor, just a little pinch. I've got a whole spoonful of camphor here to show you what it looks like. This is imported from India. What you buy in the shops as camphor is actually synthetic, but this is the pure stuff which is distilled from the leaves of the camphor laurel tree. We're not going to be using all this, of course. We're just going to be using about half of that tiny little piece there. It gives it an exquisite flavour. I always remember the ingredients for this chutney. It's the 4 C's: cardamom, camphor, coriander and coconut. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do here is to add our ghee to our pan, and we're going to add our powdered spices. Now that's the only spices we've got here. I'm not going to fry them up as we normally do in our masala method, but I'm just simply going to saute them for a second or two in the ghee, because you can't fry powdered spices lest they burn. So this is really as much as you need to do with your powdered spices. Just saute them in the ghee for about 30 seconds at the most. This is ghee on a very low temperature. This is just to extract the flavour from the spices. See, as soon as it starts to bubble like that, add your coconut. And toast your coconut along with the spices, just for a few seconds to impregnate it with some of the flavour of the spices there. And now we're going to toss in our diced plums. Of course, the best plums to use for this chutney are the ones that have a beautiful red flesh inside. Any plums will do, but when those plums are in season, try making chutney out of them. The chutney from those red plums has a delightful red colour. Now you should just allow the plums to gradually cook down a little further, and then we're going to add the sugar and continue cooking. So don't go away. You should be on hand to stir this every few minutes in order that it doesn't stick on the bottom of the pan. So this has been cooking down for about 10 minutes now. Notice how it's beginning to break up very nicely. It's getting almost to the point now where we can add our sugar. In fact, I think it's ready. Let's add our sugar. As you can see, that's a lot of sugar, but plums are very sour, and this is a very, very rich chutney, so you only need to give a little dab on the plate when you serve this. Now, you'll notice, just like if you've ever had experience with jam making, when you add the sugar, it becomes very loose and watery again. So now, from this point, you have to gently cook it down till it becomes thickened, just like you would with jam. But be careful, keep stirring it as often as you can. So we've been cooking our chutney down now for about 15 minutes, and as you can see, it's beautifully thick and red and jam-like. So now I'm going to sprinkle in my little bit of camphor here. This melts in immediately. As soon as it hits the chutney, you'll experience a burst of aroma of the camphor, which almost knocks you over. It's a wonderful smell. And that's as far as you need to cook the chutney. I'm going to turn it off, take it off the flame, and set it aside to cool before serving. And here's our batch of Raita Red plum chutney. Doesn't it look delicious? Here's a delightful chutney, sweet apricot chutney. It's like a spiced apricot jam. We've got here some nice fresh apricots here, which I'm chopping up into little pieces. This is about 4 cups of apricots, or 1.5 pounds. We've also got 3/4 of a teaspoon of cumin seeds, 1/4 of a teaspoon of dry red chili that's been sliced up, 1/2 a teaspoon of cardamom powder, a teaspoon of coriander powder. Then over here we've got 1.5 cups of sugar, a tablespoon of ghee, and 1/2 a cup of water. So the first thing we're going to do is add our ghee to our pan here and saute some of our spices. We've got cumin seeds and our chilies, which we're going to saute here for a short while, just until the cumin seeds go a nice golden brown. This is a very unusual chutney because it has a very delightful aroma of cardamom, which gives it a very aromatic flavour, and just a touch of spice there from the chili. There we go. So now I think we'll add our apricots. Let's put our cardamom, coriander, saute it up a little. I think we'll put our water in at this stage. So I'm going to place a lid on this, turn it down to a simmer, and come back in about 5 or 10 minutes when the apricots are softened up a little. Then I'm going to add the sugar. Well, it's been 5 minutes and our apricots are beautifully broken down. As you can see, they're not completely pureed. There's still a few lumps there, but they're very soft and juicy. Now at this stage I'm going to add my sugar. If you prefer an apricot chutney that's very smooth, let the apricots cook down a little more, but I prefer it chunky like this. It has more of a character. So I'm going to add my sugar at this stage, like so. And whatever lumps of apricots are there will basically stay there for the rest of the chutney. It will just now thicken up and become very jam-like and beautiful. Now, stirring occasionally, you should cook your chutney down till it's thick and jam-like. This is a real beautiful chutney. At this stage, you shouldn't put the lid back on because you have to be very attentive that the sugar on the bottom doesn't stick. So that's been about 10 minutes now. See how it's beautifully thick and jam-like? I'm not going to cook it down anymore. I'm going to turn off the flame there. I'm going to put it aside and let it cool down before serving. And there it is, apricot chutney. Great with any meal. So there we have it, a beautiful selection of chutneys and raitas. As you can see, you can serve these chutneys with a variety of breads and savouries, just like we're serving our tomato chutney here with samosas. You can serve these chutneys with pakoras, kachoris, parathas, puris, papadums. It's unlimited. A beautiful meal is never complete without a chutney or a raita. So, happy eating.